Salutations! I don't know why I'm starting off that way, but I figured why not do something a little bit different this week. Welcome to Time About the Movies Flashback, everybody. We are taking a look at the films of April 18th, 1986. 7 movies to be exact, and I'm pretty honest, to be perfectly honest, I think some of these were actually films that were released in 1985, because I could have sworn that Cinema Snob covered a couple of these movies we're about to talk about here. But nevertheless, they're on the Box Office Mojo's weekend for April 18th of 1986, so I'm going to go by that. So let's start off with Tom Cruise and Mia Sara not starring in 2 of their biggest hits of the year, from director Ridley Scott, and that is Legend.
There is a balance to the universe. The struggle to maintain that balance is the stuff of legends. For there can be no good without evil, no love without hate. Life needs death. Innocence feeds lust. There can be no heaven without hell, no light without me. I am darkness.
Well, no shit, if that's the thing that's going to kill us, then there is definitely going to be no dawn afterwards. Tim Curry's a badass in this movie, by the way. See, this is the type of Ridley Scott failure that I can have more of appreciation of, rather than some of the stuff he makes today, because the stuff that he makes today is essentially just ripping off what the guy used to do back in the day. I mean, Alien Covenant, Gladiator 2, The Last Duel, these movies that really feel like a shell of the former self of this director, Ridley Scott, but a failure of his from back when he was in his prime was more ambitious, and this was a very ambitious movie when you really look at it. Was it a great film? I wouldn't say it was, but at least it has stuff in there that you could tell they actually put a lot of effort into it, especially Ridley Scott's directing abilities. You have Jack, played by Tom Cruise, a pure being who must stop the Lord of Darkness, played by Tim Curry, who plots to cover the world with eternal night. And the damsel in distress is Mia Sara, as I mentioned, from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You also have Billy Barty in here, David Bennett, Alice Clayton. And like I said, this is Ridley Scott making one of those movies that really is a film that needs to be pitch perfect in order to cover the big budget that this had in general. But to its credit, it's a movie that does look pretty damn cool. I mean, it's a really impressive looking film, and considering that the film cost only $25 million and what they were able to do back then with the effects that they were able to work with, I mean, it's a good looking movie overall. But as we always say, visuals don't always make the movie in general. This movie had a ton of problems being made. They had a soundtrack that was originally supposed to be a score by, I think it was originally Tangerine Dream, but that got replaced by Jerry Goldsmith. Actually, Jerry Goldsmith was the one who put the original score out there, and then Universal and Ridley Scott forced Goldsmith out for the music by Tangerine Dream. So Goldsmith came in first, and then Tangerine Dream came in second afterwards. But yeah, it was a movie that went through a lot of production problems overall. And yeah, the movie does look highly ambitious, and the soundtracks overall are really good. Whether it's the Jerry Goldsmith one or the Tangerine Dream one, they are still very impressive to listen to all the way across the board. As far as the movie itself goes, it's pretty bad. It's a story that is it's a story that has a lot of problems. It's it's very reminiscent of something that came out the year before, The Black Cauldron, where, it's trying to go for a darker tone, but doesn't have a really good amount of characters or good storytelling to really make it stand out as something incredible overall. I mean, the visuals overall are the thing that you really take away from this movie in general. I mean, this is a movie that's primed to have a cult following in the years to come. And sure enough, when, the director's cut for this came out, years later when DVD became a thing, that's when audiences started to realize that, man, this actually was more highly ambitious than we could have imagined, honestly. But, yeah, it's a very ambitious movie. It's a film that works very well on the visual front, but as the story goes, not so much in general here. I mean, I've seen both the original and the director's cut version of it. I do like the director's cut a little bit better, but it's still not one of Ridley Scott's better early movies. But like I said, there's a big difference between watching a Ridley Scott failure nowadays with what he is now to what he was back then, because this was his first real major misfire overall, coming off of Alien and Blade Runner, and it was definitely one of those movies that wasn't the great film that it could have been, but it's a movie that does show a lot of ambition in the visual department, and in Tim Curry's great performance as the villain in this. I mean, it's a movie that is worth it just for the visuals alone, and yeah, it's not a great movie, but on a visual level, it looks great. But, yeah, it's a mixed bag of a movie overall. Not a great movie, but certainly has a lot of things about it that I did like. So, yeah, overall, mixed opinion on it. Not great, not bad, just, So, let's go ahead. It certainly is a lot better than some of the other movies we'll look at this week, because, yeah, I've seen some of the other ones here. Not all of them, but not a whole lot of them look that promising overall. Case in point with our next movie here, Murphy's Law, starring Charles Bronson.
Charles Bronson, a cop on the run. The mob wants him. The cops want him.
You're going to jail, Jack.
And the only one who doesn't want him is handcuffed to him.
I heard they arrested a cop.
It's your pal Murphy. He's got a gun, he's got a hostage.
Charles Bronson.
Don't mess with Jack Murphy.
Murphy's Law, rated R. Starts tomorrow at theaters everywhere.
And no, sadly, this is not the failed George Segal 1988 TV series where he's lusting over like some 20-something-year-old in that show. No, really, that's literally the plot of that show. I mean, the big focus of that show is will George Segal get involved with this beautiful looking woman who I think is in her 20s. It was something like that. It was Maggie Hahn was the actress's name, but how old was she? Well, she was in her 30s when it happened. So, I mean, she was also she was in a couple of other things you might be familiar with, The Last Emperor and Seinfeld. But we're not here to talk about that show. We're here to talk about the Charles Bronson movie, produced by, of course, Canon Films. So, of course, it's directed by J. Lee Thompson, and of course, it's a movie about an antisocial detective played by Bronson of the LAPD, who is miserable due to the failures of both his marriage and his career. His former foe returns to seek revenge, framing the detective for the murders of his ex-wife, her boyfriend, and several of his own associates. On the run from the police, the detectives team up with a petty thief who was earlier arrested. And that person being played by, is that, who is it? Is it Carrie Snodgrass or hold on one second. No, it's Catherine Wilholt, who most of you kids from the 90s will know as the voice of Pepper Ann. This has Carrie Snodgrass in it, and also Lawrence Tierney is also in it as well. I mean, really, it's about as much of a canon movie as you can get, but not really a good one overall. It's definitely a movie where it really did feel like a film that it just really felt like they really didn't have a whole lot to do in this, but they knew they got Charles Bronson, and they also got the director he usually works with. And yeah, when you look at it, it's nothing more than another Death Wish movie disguised as another film in general, and not a very good one. I mean, it's about as much of a canon film as you can get. Very cheap, very lazy. Not really one of the better Charles Bronson outings around that time, but I mean, at least it's better than something like Kinjite Forbidden Subjects, the one where, he kills a guy by sticking a watch inside of his mouth. He's like, put it in your mouth. Like, it's not as silly as that, but still not really a great movie overall, so. And speaking of not so good movies, but here's another one with people that you should know better. Not just Joe Piscopo and Danny DeVito, but also, I had no idea Brian De Palma directed Wise Guys.
A jacket for me, Mr. Costello? Thanks.
A gangster's life is a brutal calling.
Jacket actually is bulletproof. Treats his fish better than he treats us.
Fit only for men of courage. Men who bear no resemblance to Harry Valentini and Mo Dixie. Until one day,
It's part of the grand design.
Harry turned a simple errand
Costello's horse ain't ever gonna win. I'll put this $10,000 on my baby. I'm getting out of here.
into a date with destiny. But destiny stood them up.
How could you be so stupid?
The mob is willing to forgive them.
Let me waste them, Mr. Costello.
Do we really hurt them by killing them? It's a good start.
If they'll just do one simple thing.
Like kill each other.
Friends this close
What are you doing?
Sorry if I shoot. Just can't kill each other. Yet.
You're the guy they hired to kill me? I'm the guy they hired to kill you.
Danny DeVito, Joe Piscopo. They're funny guys.
You disguise yourself as what? The time knife builder.
Tough guys.
Are you talking to me?
Wise guys.
I can't believe how things keep going our way.
And when you watch that trailer, you can kind of see why Brian De Palma later called this movie a movie that he wished he hadn't done. And, he literally went on to say that the studio changed their minds and didn't want to make it. They just wanted us to go away. I should have just taken my money and walked instead of dealing with a studio that didn't want to make the movie. And lo and behold, the movie comes out, and what a shocker. It's pretty bad. I mean, the trailer alone, I think, gives you the definition of what's wrong with this movie. You got two small-time mobsters played by DeVito and Piscopo who, they have this mob boss played by Dan Hedaya, of course, from Cheers. Who is he on Cheers? The Tortelli. Why can't I remember his name? Nick Tortelli. Jesus Christ, man. I should know this. I could have also said Gordon from the Addams Family movies, but he's one of the mobsters, and they should go and take this. They're supposed to take this money, but Danny DeVito has this idea. It's like, let's go to the racetrack and spend all the money and bet on this horse that's a surefire win. Nothing can possibly go wrong until something goes wrong here. But a movie that has a cast this big, not just DeVito, Piscopo, Hedaya, Ray Sharkey, Harvey Keitel, Captain Lou Albano, Patti LuPone, Frank Vincent, Maria Patillo. There's a lot of good people involved in this movie, but man, what a mess this film was. And it's made by a lot of good people. George Gallo co-wrote the script. The music is done by Ira Newborn for the Naked Gun movies. I mean, this should have been a film that should have worked, but there was just simply nothing that really made this movie worth it in the end. It really doesn't feel like a Brian De Palma movie in general. And when half the people are saying that this was a film they didn't want to do, I mean, it's bad when they basically requested Brian De Palma to bring in Gary Marshall to help him recut the movie, and De Palma basically refused. Like, there's a difference between Brian De Palma and Gary Marshall, and if that had happened, this movie could have been much, much worse than it actually was. Like, this is a bad movie, man. This is a really terrible movie, which, believe it or not, one of the few positive reviews this thing actually got was from, of all people, Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert. Yeah, they gave it 3.5 stars. Gene, I think, gave it a perfect grade 4 out of 4, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, this is one of those movies where you look at those two and you're just like, what did you see in this movie that made you think it was any good? Because the trailer alone basically tells you, nobody really wanted to do this movie because it makes no sense of what they're trying to accomplish here. It's just, it's not a good movie. It is not a good film at all. It's easily the worst thing Brian De Palma has ever directed. And keep in mind, this was during his peak years. I mean, this is the guy that was coming off of films like Carrie, The Fury, Dressed to Kill, Blowout, Scarface, Body Double, some of the great neo-noir thrillers of the time period, and then he does a movie that's completely outside of his norm, and it's just kind of like what are we doing here, honestly? But, so there you go. That's, Wise Guys for you. Nothing too wise about this movie in general. So, let's move on to our next movie, and that is Water.
This island has always been, and always will be, a model of stability, common sense, and tranquility.
This is Ken Warden from Cascara, Island in Furman.
Or we could just call the movie what it really is, Explosions, the movie. I had no idea that Michael Bay directed movies all the way back then, because seriously, where's the water? Like, where's the reason why this movie is called Water? Because it seems like there's a lot of explosions, and it's going to take more than the water in the title to probably fix the damage done to this place. This is a story set in the fictional Caribbean island and British colony of Cascara, widely ignored by the British government, media, and general public. Local governor Baxter Thwaites, played by Michael Caine, is having an easy life in a small and peaceful colony. That peace is disturbed when an abandoned oil rig starts delivering water at the standard of the finest table water brands and laxative companies, as it contains a substance that makes you shit like clockwork. What the fuck is this movie? Different parties, including Downing Street, the Cascara Liberation Front, the White House, French bottled water producers, and Cuban guerrillas take interest in the future of the island and threaten to destroy the cozy way of life entering the island's inhabitants. Seriously, what the fuck is this movie, man? I'd never seen this movie before, but after looking at that, it's just kind of like, yeah, there's probably a good reason why I never wanted to see this movie. I mean, and the weird thing about it is, this is made by people that have made some good stuff. This is the director of this is Dick Clement, who also co-wrote the script with Ian Lee for Nas, and they've actually been behind some stuff you might be familiar with. I mean, these guys wrote, they did stuff like Vice Versa, which is actually one of the better 80s body switch movies with Judge Reinhold and Fred Savage, but they also wrote stuff like Alicia Silverstone's Clueless follow-up, Excess Baggage. They also worked a lot on the Tracy Ullman stuff, like Tracy Takes On. But they also did Flushed Away, and Across the Universe, and The Bake Job. Some of these recent movies, it's not really recent, about 20 years. I mean, 20 years is a long time ago, but I mean, compared to stuff like what they were doing back then, it's just kind of like, yeah, there was a time when they made a couple of decent movies in the 2000s. So what the hell happened here? Like, really? I mean, it's one of those things where it's just kind of like, yeah, this movie is seems all over the place. You got Michael Caine, Valerie Perrine, Brenda Vaccaro, Billy Connolly, Dennis Dugan, Jimmy Walker, J.J. Walker, Dynamite, Alfred Molina, George Harrison, of course, George Harrison, Ringo Starr, because this is produced by Ringo Starr's Handmade Films company that came out around that time. I don't know. I mean, it's a really odd movie. The trailer looked really odd, to say the least. I haven't seen it, so I can't really say if it's any good or not. So all I know is that it just looked like a film that's all over the goddamn place, and probably not for the reasons why that would make this movie a classic overall. So let's try to go ahead and move along to our next movie here. Christopher Walken and Sean Penn starring in At Close Range.
Is that what you want to hear?
Give me that.
Sean Penn. Christopher Walken. Like father, like son, like hell. At close range.
So did Christopher Walken have Sean Penn when he was 18 years old? Because there's literally an 18-year age gap between the two of them. So he must have got a girl knocked up or something. But nonetheless, this is probably one of the better movies we have this weekend. You have two brothers stuck in an impoverished household. Their father, played by Christopher Walken, a notorious professional criminal who drifts in every now and then to leave some money but never stays. The boys are intrigued by their father and his criminal lifestyle, his money, and his girlfriends, and want to get closer to him. Eventually, the father agrees to plan petty heists for the older brother's gang. The father's true evil nature is revealed when he willingly sacrifices his son to save his own life. And part of the reason why I think this one works is because it's directed by James Foley, who did this was back when he was doing great stuff like After Dark, My Sweet, Glengarry Glen Ross, and he did Who's That Girl's one of those ambitious movies where it wasn't the greatest, but it certainly wasn't the worst overall. But maybe it was because I like the theme song to that. But this is written by Nicholas Kazan, who also wrote Reversal of Fortune, which was a great movie. He's done a lot of other stuff too. He did Matilda. He did Bicentennial Man, which I think is a good movie. So this is made by people who know what they're doing. And it's a really engaging film overall. It's a very good movie that works because of the great performances by Sean Penn and Christopher Walken. You also have great performances by Mary Stuart Masterson, the late Chris Penn, Tracy Walter, David Strathairn, Kiefer Sutherland, Crispin Glover. It's a really good movie overall, a really engaging film with two really strong performances from two really good Academy Award winners overall. It's a really good film. Even the music, like the big thing that they were selling this movie on was the fact that Madonna's song "Live to Tell" was on this, which was still around the time when they were together, I believe. I think they were still a couple at this point. But I mean, it's a good. I mean, it's Madonna at her peak. So Madonna at her peak usually is really good stuff overall. And again, Madonna usually has been very good throughout much of her career overall. So there you go. But yeah, this is a really good movie. One you should definitely check out if you haven't seen it at close range. So let's go ahead and move on to another movie that's got a lot of music involved in it. David Bowie's Absolute Beginners.
Prepare to experience the absolute. Absolute Beginners. It's finally here.
That's it. That's literally what the promos for this were. That's the only TV commercial I can find for this, but this is a musical adaptation of Colin McInnes's novel about life in late 1950s London. A 19-year-old photographer named Colin is hopelessly in love with model Crêpe Suzette, but her relationships are strictly connected with her progress in the fashion world. So Colin gets involved with a pop promoter and tries to crack the big time. Meanwhile, racial tension is brewing in Colin's Notting Hill housing estate. Colin, of course, is played by Eddie O'Connell. I thought it was David Bowie, but that couldn't make any sense. But Patsy Kensit, you know her from Lethal Weapon 2. We've talked about a couple of movies she's been in, Billy Bob and the Bellboy, and also the infamous Taffin. But Sade's also in here, the singer Sade, and Robbie Coltrane. Carmen Ejogo, one of her early filmos, I believe, that is in this one. I just saw her name here, and it's the same Carmen Ejogo. Anita Morris. So there is a lot of notable names in this movie. It's directed by the same guy that did Earth Girls Are Easy. I haven't seen the movie, and judging by the fact that the film was kind of trashed by critics and audiences when it came out, probably not a good movie, but it is David Bowie, and people love David Bowie and these movies that he makes, even though some of them are don't usually work out, are not that great story-wise, but it's one of those movies that does have a cult following, mostly, I think, because Bowie's involved in it. So, I don't know, maybe it could be good, but I haven't seen it, so I can't really say if it's good or not. So, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here, and that is Jon Voight, Ellen Barkin, and Jo Beth Williams starring in Desert Bloom.
Atomic Age fashion. The beautiful Las Vegas girl of today wears Atomic Age apparel to any affair.
Why isn't she? It's A-bomb time.
I got an idea what you can make it out. Jets.
It was a time when life was supposed to be easier.
Who do they remind you of? Andrews sisters.
Oh, yeah. A time of bobby socks and dungarees and secret bonds. But for one family...
Oh, my girls.
Don't I get anything, Jack?
It was also a time of dark secrets.
Jack.
And lies.
Jack and I had a couple of drinks, Bill, and Rose got the wrong idea. I don't want to live here anymore.
Of growing apart.
Get out!
And coming together. It was a time when the love of one family would be put to its toughest test. Columbia Pictures presents Desert Bloom.
Boring. I mean, this thing kind of looks pretty lame and forgettable. But this is the story involving a woman's youth, played by Annabeth Gibbs, Rose Chismore. She flashes back and remembers her coming of age, her recollections of something less than sweet, particularly those of her troubled and alcoholic stepfather, played by Jon Voight. Her memories of Robin, her first love, are much happier, and she also recalls her colorful Aunt Star, played by Jo Beth Williams, whose visit is fun, but is also detrimental to her family's health. The setting of 1950s Nevada bomb testing is increasingly significant to the development of the story. So yeah, this movie does not really look all that impressive overall, and like I said, it really does feel like a film that really is pretty much another family drama overall, and not a very good one. But what is notable about this was that this is only the second movie produced by Johnny Carson, who, you know, a couple years ago he produced The Big Chill, which was a big critical, financial, and Oscar success overall. Oscar nominated. It got several Oscar nominations when it came out, so this was the second film, I guess part of a 3-picture deal, but Yeah, this one just didn't really wow audiences as much as The Big Chill did. The Big Chill at least had engaging characters and an interesting story you wanted to get behind. This just feels like, you know, another one of those typical family drama things. Like, this feels like the type of movie that would be like the Sunday night movie of the week, or maybe a Hallmark Hall of Fame movie or something like that. But because you got people like Annabeth Gish, John Voight, Jo Beth Williams, Ellen Barkin involved in the cast, of course, it's going to get, and not to mention Johnny Carson's one of the big producers behind the film. Yeah, of course, it's going to get a big prestige release from a major studio overall. But yeah, nothing really about this movie says it's one that I should see. So I can't really say if it's any good or not. But I'm going to take a guess at saying it's one of those dramas that had good ambitions to it, but just, you know, trying too hard to copy the success of some other family dramas of the time. I feel like this one's trying to go for a little bit more of a Terms of Endearment type of vibe, because Terms of Endearment came out a couple years ago, so that's the thing that it became a big hit. So that's the thing that everyone wants to try to do here. But yeah, I don't think it looks any good. So maybe it's good. Maybe it is good. I don't know, but I don't have any plans on seeing it anytime soon. So yeah, not much more to say about it. Desert Bloom. So there you go. That's April 18th, 1986. And next time on Time About the Movies Flashback, we'll take a look at 4 more movies, including a lot of films I've never heard of, like Band of the Hand. I never heard of that one before. Nor have I heard of Offbeat, but I have heard of Critters. I mean, Critters is a movie that is very much a film that was a Gremlins clone, even though it was essentially, I think it was made around the same time Gremlins was being produced, and they just delayed it because of Gremlins' release. I think there is a story behind this. I'll look it up and then talk about it next week. But then we also have Violets Are Blue. So 4 more films to take a look at next time around, and we'll do that all next week. So with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe button, notification button, check out some of our other videos, and I'll see you guys next week. So until then, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.